What a thrilling game it was at Anfield.
Anfield is bouncing. Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. Roberto Firmino has got the equaliser for the Reds, and the title race takes another twist.
When you concede at the end, always drop 2 points, because you have it and you are suffering, but you are relying on certain moment that the feeling is, we should have done it. But being fair to ourselves, they had 4 big chances that they could have scored and they missed the penalty. And we have to look ourselves in the mirror, and we should have done much better in the second half.
The question I had in my mind when I walked in after the game was, how can we not win this game? But we did. So it's a point, and that's okay. And yeah, it's another step in the right direction.
Well, I was at this match and it was just absolutely scintillating. From the minute the whistle went, in fact, from the minute the players came out, the atmosphere was terrific at Anfield. And the game was just brilliant. I mean, Arsenal were fantastic for the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and then Liverpool took over, put them under the cosh. Arsenal just about survived as well, and they prevented Arsenal from extending their winning run to 8 games. This is despite the fact that they led for 79 minutes. A lot was made, actually, during the analysis of this game about Xhaka and Trent Alexander-Arnold's clash. You saw that, right? Okay, so this is happening probably about sort of midway through the first half. Arsenal 2-0 up at the time. I'm not sure this was the only thing that turned the tide in this game, but it reminded me of something that happened a year ago. And I went back to have a look at the statistics. I don't know if you remember the game between these two last year when it was 0-0. It was quite sedate, pretty even, up at Anfield. Arsenal had gone up there. Mikel Arteta then started on Jurgen Klopp around about the 33rd minute. Then 6 minutes later, the blood was up, the energy was up around the stadium, and in the end, it finished 4-0 to Liverpool. They'd scored the goal just a few minutes after Arteta had started on Klopp. On reflection, did they fail to learn their lesson from last year? That if you spike up the Liverpool crowd, then eventually you're going to suffer under the weight of their pressure.
Yeah, possibly. I think naivety is the word that I would use, but I do think it was a massive turning point because, as you say, it just got the crowd immersed in the game. It got the Liverpool players fired up as well. I still can't work out where I stand on the result. A point away from home at Anfield, given Arsenal's record, is not terrible, but 2-0 up against this Liverpool side, I think really they should be seeing it out. And then the flip side is that without Aaron Ramsdale, who was terrific in the second half, and without Salah putting a penalty wide, they'd have lost the game. So I guess we'll only find out at the end of the season how pivotal a result it is. But what we can say is it was absolutely absorbing.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won at Anfield since 2012, so I think they'll probably say we would have taken a point before the start of the game. And also, when you look at what happened after they'd gone 2-0 up, they faced 19 shots from inside their own box. Ramsdale's made a series of outstanding saves. A couple of good chances for Arsenal in the second half as well. Gabriel had a brilliant chance from a set piece, which he should have planted the header beyond Alisson, but didn't. So it wasn't all one-way traffic, but I think Mikel Arteta will look at that and think, okay, dust ourselves down and go. It doesn't mean that Manchester City are now favourites with the bookmakers. Tactically, it was fascinating, wasn't it? Because Klopp tried to do a Pep Crook.
I think tactics went out of the window in the end. Listening to Henry Winter on Breakfast on Monday, and he was saying it was nice that nobody was talking about XG, false number 9s, fullbacks playing into midfield, although, as you say, Klopp did try that. In the end, it just became a basketball match. And do you know what? I think we're going to see a lot of that between now and the end of the season because this year is so unique with so many teams all playing for something. I think we're going to see lots of open games where draws aren't particularly beneficial to anybody and teams going toe-to-toe. I think we're going to see a lot of exhilarating games like that between now and the end of the campaign.
Yeah, I think there's been the eternal question for Jurgen Klopp, which has been, what do I do with Trent Alexander-Arnold? So yesterday, Trent Alexander-Arnold was recalled to the team. He went wandering into central midfield like Pep's fullbacks occasionally do. For the first half, he looked like a fish out of water. The game was passing him by for large portions of it. When he was in the right-back situation, Aaron Ramsdale was picking the ball up in his hands and just kicking it out towards that left wing, targeting him. Martinelli was going up against him. Konate had to go out towards that right-hand side and end up having to deal with Martinelli. That left a gap in the middle. It looked like it was causing a major problem. It almost felt, and I felt a bit sorry for Trent Alexander-Arnold, really, because so much is placed on his inability to defend or his lack of nous when it comes to defending. that actually now teams are properly targeting him. It feels a little bit like bullying. Right, Arsenal were accused of the sort of delaying the restarts and the dark arts, and that's the kind of sort of nous that they're going to need, actually, isn't it? You like the dark arts, Crook. You're a dark arter, I think, when you're playing football, grabbing people.
I don't mind them in certain scenarios, and yeah, I think maybe they do need to bring that into their game, but maybe that would take away a bit of their innocence. You know, the best thing about this Arsenal team is they are likeable, they are young, they are fearless. So if they start doing any of those sort of tricks, then maybe that would take away a little bit of our admiration. It's a weird situation, I think, for a lot of people to be in, because I think we all know that for the greater good, Arsenal winning the Premier League is the right outcome. But we also all know those Arsenal fans who are going to be unbearable if they do get it done. So it's a real moral dilemma.
Yeah, it's one of those where, especially if you like me and you grew up in London and everybody was an Arsenal fan, a gloating Arsenal fan, winning titles, going to European finals. And when I was a kid, obviously my team were rubbish. So I can hear the echoes of 88, 89, 90, 91 all over again, coming back to haunt me. Look, we spoke about likeable players. We spoke about dark arts, and a couple of weeks ago we called for a big ban for Alex Mitrovic when he put his hands on the referee. So we have to be fair and say that Konstantin Hatzidakis, the Lino, is in big trouble. Andy Robertson may well have started the confrontation, but the linesman certainly finished it. It's not really the sort of retaliation that you expect, is it? I mean, I tickled your elbow, so you smacked it in my face. It's not like, it's not proportionate anyway, is it? I mean, there is part of you that's going, what made you do that? I mean, I wondered, actually, what Konstantin Hatzidakis does in his day-to-day life, because he looks like quite a handy guy, doesn't he? So I wonder whether or not if he's some sort of ninja or like some sort of like super spy. And actually, this is all refereeing stuff is just cover. And because he's so used and his senses are so in tune, a bit like Ross from Friends, in Nagi and all that, that he just sort of had to react because it was just like instinctive for him. It's amazing though, isn't it, right? Because Paul Tierney would have known this at half time. I mean, remember when Robertson goes up to him and tells him that the Lino's elbowed me in the face, and Paul Tierney just sort of laughs and says, oh, shut up, go away, as if it's like the most ridiculous thing ever. Paul Tierney then goes into the dressing room. Someone's definitely told him, by the way, the Lino's just smacked Andy Robertson in the face. What can he do? He has to deny it like he's never seen it, doesn't know what happens, because you can't send off the Lino. And you can't bring the fourth official to be the Lino and then put him as the fourth official, because then he's right in the middle of the two dugouts. I mean, it's like an unprecedented situation. There's nothing that Paul Tierney can do about that.
And if you're Howard Webb watching that, you've had a bad enough weekend anyway with what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You're just thinking, why always me? I mean, it was incredible. Listen, I think we do need to condemn Andy Robertson. He did approach the Lino quite aggressively. But the reaction was strange. You expect officials to be above that kind of behaviour, and I think he will, unfortunately, in some respects, get the book thrown at him.
Yeah, I'm just going to lay it on the line here. There is some profession, there's some sort of training, there's some sort of, it must have been in the army or something. There's some sort of instinctive, sort of innate preparation here that has led to that elbow coming out. There's got to be an excuse for it. Because otherwise it makes absolutely no sense and it's going to send my brain exploding.